For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 100 and... Sorry, could you just say that for after I've said the actual number?
I will inject hype where it needs to be injected. So if the numbers are kind of lackluster, which numbers I want to be, that's no reflection on the way you were delivering them.
No, I should hope so, because your last few...
Oh, they've been out of this world.
Dreadful.
Woo! That was the sound of me knocking it out of the park.
Oh, yeah. In what particular sport, fashion,
Not one that you've played.
Yes, this is episode 104, and it's going to be out... And it's going to be out on a Wednesday, I think. Maybe?
No. I think it will.
Yeah,
just
all right.
about.
If we wrap this up, if we make it quick.
In some time zones.
We only released our Sunday episode 2 days ago.
Yeah, Monday.
That was it. Well done.
The day after Sunday.
That is it.
Don't make it sound worse than it was.
Well, I'm not.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that it's quite a short gap for us.
Yeah.
Because we're used to taking
Months.
3 week
We haven't
vacations
driven anywhere for a while. It's been crazy.
and
Back
we
here
kind
we
of
are
had a
back.
feature out of guilt in the last one. But you may have thought, oh, well then Wednesday, they won't do anything then.
Yeah.
Fucking wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong. And then secondarily to that, if you weren't one of those doubting Thomases, you may have thought, time for the rap feature that we've been talking about. But you'd be wrong about that as well.
So you're all wrong. We've gone back to a tried and tested feature that was kind of thrown together hastily when we first concocted the idea to have features Wednesday.
No need to reveal that kind of information.
I mean, it's not revealing, is it? It's what the audience has come to expect from
assume. I see.
us. Which is, of course...
It's Shame of the Week. That was unrehearsed, would you believe? Just on the mic, hot in the booth.
Are we not going to do a real jingle for it then?
No. Do we have one? Did we use one before?
Yeah, we have.
Okay, well, I'll see if it's any good, because I don't remember a thing about it or where
It's actually
saved.
called The Week in Shame.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so I've only just remembered because the jingle was some sort of harpsichord melody and then me going, The Week
Oh, yeah, I do
in
remember
Shame.
that. Yeah, okay, well, maybe we'll see what happens. I can't.
It's amazing.
Tell.
You guys might think it's exciting to listen to this show, but making it...
Strap on.
What an
Hold on
adventure.
to your seats.
we're going to do The Week in Shame again.
Because there's been all kinds of shame, and as a podcast entitled That's a Shame, I feel like what with all the 100% art we've been putting out recently, we haven't really dived into the shame so much.
No, not really.
Failing
not
in
at
our
all.
remit, perhaps. Some have said.
I don't...
No, I've
not in
IP
writing.
blocked them from downloading future episodes, but that's fine.
We have cobbled together a couple of stories between us.
Yeah.
I've got... how many? I've got 4.
I've got 5.
Oh, all right.
But mine are all nonsense. And all
okay, that's
very
good.
much on the same theme. So perhaps, I don't know what yours are, but I imagine they can't be more light and frothy than mine. No. So maybe we alternate.
Okay, yeah, we can... I mean, some of mine are light and frothy.
Yeah, but you're going to have to deliver them with a real
Some are pretty
sober quality.
pretty bad.
Yeah. I've got none that fall into like actual real shame. Apart from my first, I suppose.
All right, well, why don't you... If you've got more, then you can start and then you
Okay.
can round us off.
I will. Yeah, thank you. Do you want to like throw over to me like we're in the newsroom or something like that?
Okay.
Why don't we pretend we've come back from a break?
We've just finished... No, I think it's that it's... I'm the main presenter.
anchor.
I'm the anchor.
And I'll be like on the scene somewhere.
Yeah, and what's happened is we've just come back from like a really silly story about like a dog water skiing.
And the dog was never seen again.
That is light-hearted.
Thank you, Jim.
And then I'm going to like throw over to you. Where are you?
I'm outside a house.
Cool.
But it's representative of all houses.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
It's somewhere middle class as well.
Right. Okay.
Upper middle class, perhaps. But who am I to say I'm not one of these class
You are
traitors?
the only one with all the information.
Yeah, for now.
Oh, don't you just love to see canines having fun?
I do. love a dog.
You're not. You can't.
I love.
You're supposed
love
to.
dogs.
This is the format's gone to
My
shambles.
dog's wet.
Anyway, we'll be throwing over now to Isaac Berman Doyle, who is outside of, I'm told, a house.
Thank you, Jim. Parents are hiring nannies to look after them as well as kids, and they do some bizarre tasks.
Oh, no.
What? What's wrong with that?
Well, I don't like the worrying ambiguity of the phrase bizarre task.
Oh, so it wasn't. You weren't quibbling with the accent choice.
Oh, no. I mean, I decided that was not worth engaging with.
Well, what I was going for is that sometimes Dracula.
Oh, is it Dracula?
Well, it was in the vein of Dracula. You
Oh.
can have that for free. And also, I've just realised I'm setting up a story down the line as well. So this is really ticking
This is
all
on the point.
boxes.
Tell me about these nannies.
This is from Courtney, I want to say Pochin. Courtney Pochin.
Why do you want to say that?
Because that appears to be how it's spelled. It could be Pochin, Pochen. Audience writer for the Mirror. Audience writer, is that just a random person who submits a bit of news?
Yeah, I think so.
That would account
That's like
for
when
a
you
lot
text in a
what's
picture
going
of the
on.
snow.
And they're like, here's the news. There's some snow. See you later. Enjoy your licence fee. Hardworking parents who have the cash to splash have been hiring nannies to help out around the home for as long as anyone can remember. Bold claim from Courtney. Traditional nanny duties, as you'll know, Declan, they include preparing meals or doing the school run and generally taking care of the kids.
Bit of tidying.
Sometimes, but many consider that outside their jurisdiction.
The remit.
Yeah. But today, it appears some nannies are doing a lot more than just that. While some are expected to teach children a new language and change nappies, there are others who are now paid to also look after the adults of the family. Thoughts on that? Let me get a gut check on this. Oh, the guts are emerging from the mouth. Right. Explain it in some kind of words.
It
You don't think it's
disgusts
good?
me.
Jacob Rees-Mogg, of course, is a British right-wing politician, a sort of parody of Empire Britain, like Rudyard Kipling masturbated him into existence.
What's the
in a
Frankie
particularly
Boyle line that
frenzied
he looks like
sesh.
a punch cartoon of Britain's first giraffe.
That's great. But he famously, apart from being a total horrid idiot, he has a nanny it was his nanny when he was a child, and I believe she's stayed and is now looking after his children who are called things like Optimus, Septimus, Quentin, Quintus, things like that.
Megatron.
Yeah, it's really poor. But I believe she does take care of him as well. He calls her nanny. That's the upsetting part.
It's just dreadful. Like,
Really
why
upsetting.
are adults doing this, please? What tasks do they need doing?
Well, they spoke to someone who owns a nanny consulting business in Manhattan, and she, you'll be pleased to know, spilled the beans on some of her elite clients. Horrid bit of language. She revealed that one family with children aged 4 and 7 requested a yoga-certified nanny to, quote, make sure everybody in the household was balanced and mindful.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So they've got... But that isn't a nanny.
The nanny gives the whole family yoga
They've
lessons.
just hired a yoga instructor.
Get a load of this bit, though. The nanny gives the whole family yoga lessons, even driving to the father's office while the children are at school for a 30-minute session.
Dad is fucking the nanny.
Downward dog. Goodness me. Similarly, Erin Maloney Winder, president of a household staffing company,
Stop it. Maloney Winder.
revealed that she recently was asked by a CEO and mother of 4 to find a, quote, caregiver to blow out her hair every day, in addition to caring for the 2 girls' hair.
A caregiver?
Yeah.
To
blow out her hair.
In what? Literally?
Don't know.
Figuratively?
Is it on fire or not? Don't know. In addition to driving them to school and preparing 3 meals a day. If that weren't enough, nanny also gives the mum facials and manicures as well. Another wealthy
She
parent
gives a
gets his
what?
children's nanny to massage him and his wife for 90 minutes twice a week once the kids are in bed.
Wow.
It's really blurring the lines of,
Yeah.
acceptable behaviour into, like, if you imagine a sort of chart, there's 10% of it was acceptable behaviour, like that, where it's like an iceberg, and then below the surface of the sea is the real mess.
Well, last night, Mark and I watched the early Louis Theroux, one of his weird weekends, where he visits the Swingers. And
is that like a jazz sort of styling?
it's sadly not. Although Mark did remark that whenever Louis Theroux said Swingers, that it did instantly sound like that.
Yeah.
But one of the funny things is that the main couple that he speaks to, they're hosting this party, and he talks to both of them, and they're both they both seem into it, and seem to know a lot about the lifestyle.
Is there a lot to know? Is it quite an in-depth?
Sort
is there
of
like a manual you can hope to receive?
Not a particular printed document, but there's
Maybe there should be.
I'll get on to the community.
See if you can sort that
But
out.
it is known as the lifestyle.
Is it? That's
Yeah.
weird, because that's often a term that people use about cults, calling it
Yeah.
the lifestyle, or like the red pill.
It did seem quite like cultish in a way. But what was really obvious was that this guy felt a bit like his wife was pretty ugly and wanted to have sex with other people.
Everyone's beautiful on the inside.
Yeah, that may well be the case.
If you love surgical trophies.
But the thing was that she clearly wasn't actually into any of it. And this was made no clearer than when Louis visits their house the night that they're having one of these parties.
Yep.
And it keeps cutting between the fact that he was out back
Yep.
with like much younger woman who he'd dressed in scuba gear and was giving a massage to in the pool. And
Scuba gear?
yeah, that was his thing.
Really?
I thought it was
That's
like
niche, isn't
when
it?
they like looked round his kind of fetish room. I thought it was just like a rubber thing because that's pretty classic.
Thought he was
But
just
then-
really into the Little Mermaid.
But then he made it clear that no, a lot of his fantasies actually involve scuba diving.
right, that's very heavy and cumbersome equipment, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So I mean,
Weird.
she was properly committed to this bit. This
Well,
woman.
fair enough.
But then
Whatever floats your boat.
it was cutting between that and the fact that his wife's only real involvement that night was that she was manning the desk at the front. Like she was
handing out
literally
tea.
reception.
She was taking orders for like which scones people were.
Yeah.
Is it plain or fruited?
Well, she was, and then like Louis goes to see her and she's setting out snacks and he's like, "Are you gonna get involved?" And she's like, "Oh, you know, not,
see what
not-
happens."
Not now." And then it cuts to her husband who's now kind of like making out with someone in a scuba mask.
Someone who's just a fish, just fully an aquatic being.
They really committed to the bit.
Wow. Well, that's a shame, isn't it? And we don't advocate for that, do we? We want
advocate for
marital
what?
parity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maria, who is the nanny to some royal, has been forced to learn something called skid pan training. Do you know what that
I
is?
don't want to hear any more about
It's a weird term, but it actually just means like how to drive if you ever skid your car, and self-defense. And then at the very end of the article, it says, "Think your friends would enjoy this? Share it on WhatsApp."
Oh no.
Don't think I'll be doing that.
That makes it sound like they're planning to attack her.
Yeah, you're going to need to know this. Like, don't worry about why they're going to
The car
fake
ever
kidnapping.
is out of your control and
Say
the kids
someone-
are slapping you.
I don't know. Cut the brakes. People do it, royals and
It
otherwise.
happens. It
Royals,
happens.
peasants. So there's an important bit of news. If you're a nanny, or if you have a nanny, make sure that you're not being made to do anything you don't want to.
And also, if you're interviewing for a job,
Yeah.
I was going to say auditioning, which at first I thought was a silly word to use, but having heard the article, think it probably is closer
well,
to being correct.
Seems like they
We need a
want
nanny who can cook, clean, and sing the role of Maria
a daily musical
in both West Side Story and The Sound of Music.
that's versatile.
That's range.
That's incredible.
But if you're interviewing for a nanny position and someone does say, "Do you know self-defense?" I'd leave.
Yeah.
I'd suggest that you do too.
When I was a nanny, I was never asked if I knew self-defense.
No, but then again, that was a baby. He wasn't big on.
3 or 4 or something.
Okay, well, I'm only going by the fact
And
that you always referred to him as a baby.
Oh yeah, but that was just because he was
Compared to your
compared
intellect.
to my stature as a man. Stupid baby.
Absolute.
You'll never get here. Weird, I don't work there anymore.
I've got a bit of news.
Okay, go on.
That is a funny headline.
Yeah.
But I think it's a nice launch pad for a little bit of a more serious discussion.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what you asked for me.
Right, let me just get
So-
my serious hat on.
Those are pajama bottoms, but there we
I'm
go.
ready.
He's draped them anyway.
Yeah.
Fox Business host calls former President George W. Bush a, quote, radical liberal.
Oh, right.
No, left.
Oh, sorry, my mistake.
So I thought I liked this one because I think it cuts to the heart of the fact that I suppose there are people on both sides who do it, but it seems, as it is with many things, more of a feature of the right. That
Because they're intellectually dishonest and have no rigorous ideology to support their horrid beliefs, primarily.
yeah, that was the parenthetical
Okay.
statement. That anything to the left of themselves
Yeah.
is communism.
Well, it is, isn't it? I mean, it's a slippery slope, isn't it? That's what Marxism's about. It's like push people down the slope.
Because there seems to be this, like you say, there's an inability to actually argue with the fundamental basics of just slightly left politics.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're like, hey, what if all the kids were able to eat food?
Go to school.
You know,
Oh, come on.
It's hard to intellectually and morally argue against that. So,
But did you know that Mao killed hundreds of millions of
and
billions
what's
of
next?
people?
The purges.
Yeah, so you want to watch out. Venezuela. Come on, give me a break.
Venezuela. So, I mean, the idea, if you'd said, I don't know, 10 years ago,
Yeah.
12 years ago, that there
Can't
would
be
come a
done.
time where TV news, I mean, it's Fox, so it's not necessarily news,
Most watched one there is, though, isn't it?
would be claiming George Bush as a radical liberal. What would you have thought then?
Well, I'd have thought that I'd fallen into a great big wormhole of lies.
Do you
and in
think-
a way, we have.
Do you think it's as much the fault of those responsible for this kind of rehabilitation of people like George Bush?
Yeah, a little bit.
How
And
he's
there's
allowed
also-
to kind of, it's like, oh, look at him giving Michelle Obama a sweet.
Yeah, but and all the stuff about as soon as he was out of office, people being like, you know what, he was actually really smart. It was just all those years he was in power. He was maybe nervous or shy, or here it is, acting dumb and saying clearly stupid
Leading
things,
people on.
saying that the problem with the French is they don't have a word for entrepreneur. A real classic zinger from George, forgetting how doors worked.
Oh, yeah.
But all of that, it was probably a front.
It was probably some really
He was so clever. It went round the
stunningly
other way.
manipulative foreign policy, really.
Yeah,
like a
really
strategy.
good. Really good.
I mean, this article does mention the fact that it's somewhat surprising that this was the case, as Bush considered himself, quote, a compassionate conservative, and often had single-digit approval ratings from Democrats during his presidency.
Wow.
Now, they're
Picky, aren't they?
they're no far-left organisation,
Not in a big way.
although, again, really interestingly, that is how they are
Perceived in
portrayed.
America.
Yeah.
It's the old Overton windows.
Yes.
That shifted so far
So-
to the right, it might
right,
as well fall out the window. Might as
Fallen
well-
into it and
might as
out
well
of
be your
itself.
indicator.
Like, it's the characterization, even in that wonderful, what's his name, cartoon.
Sondheim? Oh, no.
No, what is his name? I
don't know.
Ben Garrison. The Ben Garrison cartoon of Bernie Sanders with a hammer and sickle claw as some kind of shellfish.
Yeah.
This characterization of him as a communist.
A radical communist.
when he's like just about leaning to the left of centre.
Yeah.
He's got some cool ideas.
Yep.
He kind of wants people to be able to have homes and eat.
It's weird that he wants us all to starve in a Marxist hell, though, isn't it? Like, that's a policy that... I don't know if he's stated it, but if you kind of read between the lines, it's obvious to most of us that he's a dangerous, far left extremist.
Yeah.
And that's why we had to kind of, as the DNC, we
Had to intervene.
had to intervene and had to kind
Debbie
of...
Wasserman Schultz
rig a
was
little
is basically like a hero.
Well, she
really.
stepped in for our interests, and we're not even American, because
No.
there's a real domino effect. Have
When
you heard of this,
America
the domino
sneezes,
effect?
Europe catches a cold.
Yeah,
you see.
and then the dominoes fall. Because when you've got a cold, you're not going to build them back up.
Checkmate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I would encourage, I mean, most of our listeners are surely
Not idiots.
at all, they must at least slightly like people and think it's a good thing if everyone
I think we have a
is able
compassionate
to live.
listenership.
Yeah. But yeah, make sure you don't fall into the trap of believing any of this horse shit because it falls apart on even the most like vague overlooking.
A single fact would check the whole notion
Yeah.
in this instance.
Of Bush being what was it?
Was it radical
liberal?
God, he really was, wasn't he, now that you think about it? And it's probably because he comes from a political dynasty that was famously, again, very liberal.
It's like a real inability, well, not inability. Well, actually, I suppose, yes, inability,
Potentially.
but mostly unwillingness to grapple with the reality of any kind of idea. Like you settle onto a rhetoric and then it's done. Today, there was Amnesty Ireland tweeted about let's protect the rights of all pregnant people.
Yeah.
And all of the replies, the first 20 replies were all people going, I think you mean women. Like, oh God, you can't even say the word woman without being offensive
God,
now.
it's PC gone mad, isn't it?
Like, absolutely being silenced are women. And you read through and you're like, but every single comment is you. Like, they're all, like, what about all these other people and you all getting your chance to say?
It is interesting that I think it's, at least in our current climate, and certainly for the last century, seems to have been the case, that there is a delusion on the right that could exist theoretically in the left, but doesn't because of the nature of power balance. That someone wrote into a political podcast I listened to, about someone had been like bashing Fox and talk radio and stuff, and they wrote in as a reformed Republican. I think they're now quite centrist, but better in a way than
baby steps.
Yeah, exactly. But they'd written in to say like how the talk radio phenomenon and like Fox News came to prevalence because the sense in the right wing of America was that you weren't allowed to have these opinions anywhere. So if you went into like the hospital waiting room, it would be playing CNN, and now it would be playing Fox News. They had this notion that they were being silenced despite the fact that all of the media that was outside of the one thing they were pointing at was like theirs.
Yeah.
Because talk radio was their phenomenon entirely.
Yeah.
And they're like shouting about being silenced is such a bizarre concept.
Yeah. Well,
like, no one's listening
people
to
using,
your millions of
people
fans.
using enormous platforms to say that they're being silenced.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it's just that there's this one place where we've asked that you maybe not be.
Maybe we should check what Alex Jones has to say about that on Twitter and see if he's got any.
Or maybe he said about it in a YouTube video.
Facebook? Oh, it's gone.
More of this to come later in
good.
a slightly more humorous
I've
example.
got an even more serious one now.
Okay.
It's good that you've kind of laid the groundwork, because I didn't want to go into this without some setup, because, you don't want to just spring these topics.
No.
Zoe Forsey, acting audience editor, writes, Mum spots, quote, daughter in creepy and, quote, unexplainable photo taken years before she was born.
Wow, unexplainable photo.
Quote, unquote, unexplainable.
Wow.
So I'm going to give you some context. Of course, I'm going to let you see the photo, because
you're
you're quite sceptical.
I'm going to need to see it, just because, what's unexpected about it?
Yeah, well, you're going to have to find out for yourself. But here we go. A mum believes she can see her youngest daughter in an unexplainable photo taken years before she was born. Laura, I'm going to say Cis, C-I-S-S-E. It's like Cisse, but without the accent. Let's go Cis. 38. Spotted the eerie figure standing behind her 15-year-old daughter Aisha, and now believes it could have been a, quote, echo from the future. Now, echoes, as you understand them, where do they normally come from?
That's
the past.
famously no.
Oh, so have I misunderstood that?
Basically, what it is that they're coming from the future back, but they always arrive early. But because
they just overshoot, like when you miss your stop on the
no,
tube.
they're getting there early. They're like accidentally getting off one stop early.
Right.
But because they're coming backwards from the future, them being early in the present makes it seem to be late.
That's so
you go
interesting.
hello, and it's like it's already
It's coming
like,
back
hello.
to you.
Oh fuck! I've just
That's
missed.
so weird. And is that like a known
It doesn't have to be sound. It can be ghostly apparitions.
deja vu, I guess, is the
Whole people.
The photo appears to show another girl with blonde hair who looks a lot like Laura's.
Sorry, another girl.
Yeah.
You mean actually?
It
the girl
definitely
in question.
shows the girl in question.
Okay,
as well.
sorry, yeah.
Sorry, you know how they have to kind of hedge their bets
yeah,
for
yeah.
journalistic integrity. It's like a balance
For
thing
the
that the
cynics
media
out
is
there.
famous for, especially in the UK. It appears to show a young girl who looks like Laura's daughter Sophie peering over a table ornament in the background and staring straight at the camera. But it was taken 10 years ago, 3 years before she was even born. Laura from Scarborough said, "The girl looks like Sophie. It does have a look of her. It's very strange." All of Laura's dialogue is so odd in this. She's got such a weird way of speaking. When I first looked at the picture, when I saw it again, my eyes went straight to the face.
First looked at the picture when she saw it for the second time.
Yeah, there are three different viewings in this one sentence. When I first looked at the picture,
Right.
when I saw it again,
Okay.
my eyes went straight to the face the first time I saw it. And I thought, what's Sophie doing there? I've never seen the picture before. But then I
you
realised
had.
Sophie wasn't even born when the photo was taken. It can't have been her. Maybe it's an echo of the future or something
No,
like
no,
that.
no.
You don't know. That's what she said. You don't know.
You don't know.
So back the fuck off.
What I love about this article and this style of article that like appears everywhere in these kind of take a break magazines,
high quality,
whatnot,
broadsheets,
investigative
primarily,
journalism, is that they all reach a point wherein like 99.9% of people went, and then and there was no story, but one mental believes, like, took it further and was like, this is going to be national news.
It's definitely an echo of the future.
Yeah, that most people go, fuck, that looks like, oh no, it was taken before. Yeah, okay, it's not.
But
one brave
took it the extra mile. The photo shows 5-year-old Aisha posing in a blue dress for the camera in an old house which they moved out of later that year. Maybe because of ghosts, like, we don't know that.
Yeah, could have been, probably was.
Laura, who is a paper operator, I don't know what that means, said, glad I'm not living in that house anymore. Strange thing about it is that I posted it to Facebook, but I never noticed the face before. It was only when it popped up on my memories last week of 10 years ago that I noticed. She continues for a really long time.
Sorry, so was it her own photo?
Yeah, it's her own photo that has a ghost
that
injected
she
into it.
Posted onto Facebook without seeing.
No, but when she saw it for the first time.
When she saw it for the first time and looked at it again, her eyes went straight to the face that she'd not seen because it was the first time she was looking at it for the second time.
I remember, she says, after just describing the photo for 3 paragraphs, we were alone and there were no other children there. The only other children of that age that Aisha played with when she was 5 was my cousin's little girl, and she looks nothing like that. We didn't have other children come to the house until Aisha was at school when she was 6 or 7. I think, she says, it's unexplainable. It's too high. It's too high for it to be something on the table. And I remember the ornament that I had on the table, and it's not that. So presumably she's saying there that she didn't have the ornament of a child's face on her table. Someone at work suggested it could be a doll's head on the table, but it couldn't be because she didn't have any dolls, as there were none with afros, so she didn't want one.
So it must have been an echo. We've ruled out all the possibilities.
I can't believe I've never noticed
I think
it
she's
before.
being generous by calling it unexplainable.
As a believer in the paranormal and a self-confessed chicken when it comes to ghosts, Laura was immediately scared when she spotted the face. I was shocked. I ran downstairs and said to my boyfriend and said, have you seen this? They've not edited this one bit. I rang my mum and everybody and none of us can explain it. My sister was really shocked and suggested we look into the history of the house. We were all shocked. Can't stop looking at it. She goes on for such a long time.
This is just a story about enabling. No one in her family went, that's bullshit, it's just someone else.
In a way, perhaps it's nice to see. My daughter's going through a tough time at school at the moment. So if she
it's good to know that she's a freaky ghost from the past / future.
So if she does have something looking out for her, I hope it's still around. Just hope it doesn't show itself to me. Do you want to see the picture?
I'd like to see the picture. Can I see it? I am ready.
Okay. It's going to alarm you, and it's going to be one of those where you're not going to notice it for a while. So they've put in a helpful red circle.
Okay.
So there's a little girl in the foreground, and they're in the background. You're right. It's a defino ghost, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's it.
Yep. Solved.
That's the only thing it
and
could
that's
be. It's definitely one of those like
ghosts.
No, those like busts where you like girls do the makeup and hair for.
Oh, a ghost, you mean?
Sorry, yes, I did.
An
mean
echo
a
from the
ghost.
future, and that's the news.
My next piece starts with a question. Now, I know it's a question you've read before.
Okay.
And it's a question we've all asked
ourselves.
No, it's not a question we've all asked ourselves.
Right. But it's one that we're going to ask ourselves now.
Probably, only briefly though.
Okay.
Because the answer is obvious, but we have managed to draw, well, not me, and not us. One brave journalist has managed to draw it out into a full-length piece.
That's really good. Do you think they were paid by the word?
Almost certainly.
That's really
I think
good
they're paid by the hate crime,
wow,
actually.
nice.
Because the question is it possible to draw Serena Williams without being racist?
Oh, it is a tale as old as time, that question, isn't it? It's something that sometimes you just wake up.
For as long as there's been Serena Williams.
Yeah. Scholars have been demanding an answer to the question.
Is it possible to draw her without being... Now, what's your gut opinion?
Well, for me, it's impossible to draw anyone. And in the same stroke, I would struggle to draw a person, and I would struggle to draw a racist depiction of a person, not being an artist and not
Without intentionally trying.
Yeah, I think it's really hard, from what I understand, and again, I'm not an artist, so I will preface that there. It's quite specific, isn't it? The racist depiction of people. I don't know if you've done GCSE history, but you may have done, we did the civil rights movement, and there are often, they love to put a cartoon source in, don't they? Which is where my hatred for political cartoons really began and continues to this day because they're all shit. But often you can really see the features they've accentuated in order to, in this instance, depict black people as subhuman. But nowadays, 2018, surely that's not an issue because everyone recognises that there are certain hallmarks of racism that, as a skilled artist, easy to avoid.
Well, now, I don't actually...
Is that the case for everyone?
See, I don't know if Rod Liddle
Explain
is
Rod
a skill.
Liddle a little bit. Is he a very, very talented...
I think that we can explain him by...
in his own words.
No, I think we can explain him, well, A, with his own words, but B, by probably sharing on the Twitter the Spectator's own cartoon of him.
Oh.
Because the Spectator, being an edgy magazine, they don't have journalist pictures, they just have their cartoons. So, don't know if you remember Rod Liddle's one, but there it is.
Oh, wow.
What's a word that comes to mind? Is it Frankenstein's
total
monster?
Frankenstein's gammon. There it is.
Let me just read the opening paragraph because cleverly, slyly, the Spectator they've lodged this behind one of those paywalls.
That is clever.
But
Spectator is considered a kind of respectable publication, isn't it? Sadly. I mean, they're certainly legitimate. They are. I mean,
well, in what sense?
in the sense that they're financially successful, long-standing establishment media outlet.
Yeah, well, they are all like gurning racists.
Well, yeah,
as
of course, we know that.
Oh,
but
okay, sorry, yeah.
I'm just saying where they
So
stand.
I was just checking whose definition of legitimate we
And
were
this
running by.
bit you're about to read, let's just remind ourselves, they published this, didn't they?
They published this, and what they did afterwards was they just stood by it.
Oh, that's good. That's really good, isn't it? Because integrity is...
I have spent the morning trying to draw a cartoon of a black person without it being racist. Now, already there's so much here. Number one, what a normal way to spend your morning.
It's just one of those classic like diary entries.
Yeah, it's not a morning, it's a norming.
Uh-huh.
You see. Number two is that already
The central
in
premise.
a leap of like spectacular subconscious racism, it has gone from Serena Williams to any black person.
So do you think he tried to draw Serena Williams and was like, for some reason, my innate racial prejudice keeps coming out of the end of the pencil?
I'm going to have to
generic
expand the
black
bracket.
person.
Like, and again, I think probably not unfair to say, maybe a little dog whistle there from Rod that
Rod Liddle?
is he saying that black people all
No, he wouldn't be saying
He's
that.
not. He wouldn't
Not
be.
in the Spectator.
Not in print and
God, surely. And they wouldn't
cyberprint.
they wouldn't have stood by it.
No, they wouldn't have.
Because
No,
they're
you
not
can't.
outwardly...
No. Well,
sometimes.
they
but
don't mean
Yeah.
to. If someone had pointed it out, they'd
Then
have gone, "Oh no!"
If it was like massive, blew up on Twitter,
Yeah.
lots of people subtweeting
And
it with
like-
very valid criticisms.
like I wouldn't necessarily be that critical of just anyone doing that change from heading to first sentence, but knowing Rod Liddle,
And knowing the rest of the article.
knowing the rest of the article, knowing the rest of the history of his articles,
Knowing that he's a total racist.
having seen this picture, knowing he's a racist thing, don't feel it's a huge
No,
leap
you
on
don't.
our part.
You don't have to give him the benefit of the doubt.
He follows it up, it's bloody difficult. And then follows it up, especially the lips.
Wow, is it, Rod?
Now,
Where to start, hey?
it's an article that thinks it's trying really hard to be generous, like thinks that it's trying really hard to be specifically non-racist.
Do you think it thinks
Yeah,
that?
I think he
very
thinks what it
generous
is,
of you.
or that he thinks that's how it's going to come across.
I think he's not thought a second about it. It's just like starting with whatever it is. Like, I woke up this morning, started drawing racist pictures.
Picked up
It's
my
just like-
brown pen.
It's like a racist kid just babbling at you.
Yeah, but I think that the intention here, because the whole idea is to say while the cartoon/cartoonist in question, which I'm sure we've all seen,
isn't
racist. Like they're like, oh, look, it's not racist. We're not racists.
It was. Though,
it definitely was, and the cartoonist definitely is.
Yeah, and it's weird because just remind me, is Rod Liddle, is he a person of colour?
Well, all of the cartoons are monochrome, so it's hard to tell.
Okay.
But from my memory, he's crushingly white.
Crushingly white with tints of bright red, that kind of dark red meat vibe.
Yeah.
It's weird that he would be kind of writing a piece in apparent defence of that cartoon that lots of black people said was very clearly offensive.
Well, maybe the Spectator's plethora of writers of colour were just busy that day.
Yeah, or maybe they all were like, you take this one, Rod. Yeah. I know you've got a hot take.
You've got the sensitive touch, the flick of the wrist that can do it. Oh, you're the only one with a set of Crayolas. But to then like dive so headlong into being this just calamitously racist is just spectacular, especially the lips. Like he was specifically looking to draw the lips because he knows that's
there's a
history
feature of that being exaggerated to dehumanise black people.
Well, yeah. Make them too big and anti-racist people will accuse you of being a white supremacist, peddling, in their words, the old Sambo myth. Well, firstly, I like the idea that Rod Liddle specifically and actively announces here that he doesn't want to be associated with people who are anti-racist.
Oh, God.
The anti-racist crowd
know what they're like,
immediately
with all their not racism.
immediately setting the anti-racist up as an other.
Yeah.
But too small, and they don't look like the lips of very many black people.
Is that based on a lot of...
Now, what I do like is that...
Very many is such a little, hedging his bets,
yeah, it's not
all... You can't prove that in court,
no.
What he meant, percentage-wise.
Yeah, an editor suggested very many, I think it's clear. But what I do like is that he doesn't go, but too small, and the racists will say... Because that's what he's going to go on to say. It's the same with the colour. At first, on my cartoon, I used a black felt tip pen. Well, why?
So
why did he do that?
It sounds like something you'd overhear in like a school assembly of just idiots. It was like, at first I tried just a jet black crayon.
Then
after that, my mummy said I'd done a hate crime, so I went to play with my Lego.
But it's even stupider than that, because listen to the end of the sentence. At first, on my cartoon, I like that he says on my cartoon.
Like
I used a black felt tip pen, and so the figure came out very black indeed.
What? Causation in this day and age?
And then, I'm sorry, the next sentence reads, came out very black indeed. Sambo territory again. Wow. Especially when I added big red lips and very white teeth. It's like, it's like, of course it came out really racist when you specifically used all the tropes you know to be particularly racist. In the end, I used cross-hatching with a pencil, but this was, to my mind, unsatisfactory.
Who is this article for?
For other racists.
But racists aren't that interested in that, I don't think. Like, if you're an ardent racist...
No, but I think it is, because I think we're now entering a kind of... It's sort of good, in a way, a territory where the racists know that if they're gonna be racist, it's probably gonna be online.
Okay.
And so they're easily gonna be called out on it.
Yeah.
So what they need things to back up their racism. They're going to there are at least going to be a few people like the Richard Spencers of this world who consider themselves to be like the intellectual racist class. And therefore they're like, I'm not just sat here shouting slurs. I've got this.
Nietzsche?
Here's a nice little article I had published. So I think that initially it was like it was a good thing. It's like, yeah, we'll force them into a corner where they have to back it up with evidence. Then they'll be fucked. But what people didn't count on was that a lot of journalists were racist,
Oh,
and they were
no.
just going to write stuff for the racists to use.
This particular article, like, I agree, there is a desire to kind of latch onto anything that supports such an abhorrent worldview. But this one is so boring.
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely.
it is, like I say, just written like he's just telling this to someone who's walking past and trying to like follow them with, and then I used, and they're just like, mate, go away, I'm trying to get the
You won't
bus.
believe it. When I used 3 of the most famous and historically exploitative black stereotypes on my cartoon,
Did it get more racist, did it, mate?
it was
Fuck off.
even more
But
racist.
it's just so like asinine, the whole thing. It's like the Venn diagram is racists who are really interested in how to draw cartoons. Like, must be about 10
No, but it's
people.
because for that like 3 days it was a hot button issue.
Yeah.
And he was like, God,
I can
we
latch
could
on.
be losing this battle. I'll whip out the pens. We'll
cross-hatching.
fight this.
God, he's
The
very,
felt
very
tip
stupid.
is mightier than the sword.
And it's just, yeah, it's a shame that the major effect, I think, of the Trump presidency has been just disseminating the playbook of you do something mental and then that's it. You just
Doesn't
sort
matter.
of abandon it. You're like, that's
Yeah.
off now. Bye.
See you
bye,
later.
article into the sea of racism.
And you know, next time you say something and like maybe because I mean we mentioned this about a year ago when we went to that evening
how to
with
draw a
Gary
racist
Young.
cartoon.
The workshop,
right,
the Guardian workshop on
Guardian
how to draw,
Masterclass.
hosted by Gary.
His article about the Serena cartoon is very good as well.
Extraordinarily
We'll link to
good, yeah. But the one with Gary Young and a couple of other journalists.
Hadley Freeman.
Well, yeah, Hadley Freeman and Jonathan Friedland.
Yeah.
Talking about Trump's
A year after Trump.
a year after Trump's presidency, and you're like, both Hadley and Jonathan are hateful people with some really like
Very poor
really bad opinions and really bad views. But someone like Trump makes it very easy for them to seem like normal,
Acceptable.
very kind
Yeah,
of
it's
woke.
true. It's like a get out of jail free card for
Yeah.
people who have like fringe beliefs that aren't quite that fringe.
Yeah. Like Jonathan Friedland can write a bunch of articles about how we need more like right-leaning economic policies in the Labour Party.
Can I give my favourite Friedland
please.
anecdote? It's when he reviewed, we must have talked about Norman Finkelstein on here before,
Yeah.
but he wrote a book, I think it was the Holocaust industry that was being reviewed in The Guardian when it came out. And Jonathan, basically his argument is, as you can probably tell from the title, that anti-Semitism is lumped in with right-wing foreign policy and economic interests, kind of weaponized and used cynically, which is an abuse of the memory of people who died in the Holocaust, sometimes the living memory of those who suffered or whose families suffered, him included.
Yep.
So he, small bit of context, both of his parents were in different concentration camps. His mum was in Auschwitz and his dad was in
Mine.
one that we've never been able to
no.
work out the name of. And then I think they survived, but basically everyone else in his family was killed. And at the end of this review, where Jonathan Friedland obviously disagrees with everything he has to say because he
had a lot of evidence
very
and
much
good points to back.
loads of it actually.
Yeah,
And it's really a shame because it's at the end that he screwed the pooch
Oh.
by saying that in attacking, I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like in his attack on Israel, basically, it appears that Finkelstein is closer to those who abused than to those who suffered. So calling the son of 2 Holocaust survivors a Nazi because he disagrees with Zionism, basically.
Yeah.
It's just mental.
It's just
thing to say.
madness. Like, you can't justify that,
It's
even
so
though he got it
outrageous
printed.
and continues to be like
Yeah.
one of the most well-paid establishment journalists to the day.
But someone like Trump allows him to kind of blend in.
Yeah.
But, you know, every now and then, a tweet that he does, less likely that something Rod Liddell says, but a tweet that Friedland does will get very, very popular even on left Twitter. And someone will go, hey guys, remember when he said that Norm Finkelstein was more like a Nazi? And it will get a bit popular, but it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't
really
affect him at all. It doesn't affect him. It doesn't affect anyone who likes him. It doesn't affect, because people have like settled.
Yeah. Depressing, isn't it?
I promise my next 2
I'm going to lighten the mood in a big way here.
are a bit lighter.
You know blood? You've got some.
You're a
haven't you?
fan.
Well, I don't mind blood. This is a common misconception.
You love it pumping around your body in
don't-
those veins.
It's not that. Yeah, it's the pumping. It's the circulation. It's not the blood
You
itself.
love the beat.
Because I'm not
You love to
squeamish.
feel it. You love to have it felt.
I don't. Young blood. This article, like, I'll just set this up.
The song
It
or...
was no. This article was written by and for vampires only,
Okay,
but
right.
published by Sky.
The Vampire Times. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Young blood, an elixir that prevents age-related diseases. Study reveals
Right.
by Lucia Binding.
When you say young blood, I'm going to assume that rather than blood the body created recently, it means the blood of the young.
Yes, blood taken from a young person could be the key to maintaining long-lasting health in old age, scientists claim. Now, this next paragraph is just very oddly written, and I can only assume it was by a Dracula figure. Because they use the term, they say blood factors obtained from young beings can improve late life health.
Young beings?
Yeah.
It's such a, dehumanizing word, isn't it?
It's like they're just preparing.
Young vessels.
Yeah, like we're just going to become, anyone under 30 is just going to be seen as a blood vase.
I like that I don't know if it comes up in the article, the actual age range, but you've defined young as under 30 so as to very generously include yourself still.
I've got young blood. Fuck
My
off.
blood will cure anything.
Dame Linda Partridge, a geneticist and my parenthesis definite vampire at UCL, said
Emphasis mine.
research shows that young blood could allow humans to live a life free of diseases such as cancer and heart disease right up until their deaths.
Well, that's true of any treatment in the world.
This is my favourite. This is the reason I included it, is this quote, where she says, this quote has a quality of, like, the interviewers there just taking notes, like pre-written, maybe 5 or 6 questions just to get the key information for the article. Then maybe there was a pause as the interviewer was putting the notebook back, like, thank you, Dame Linda, really nice, like, lovely to meet you. Thanks for doing the interview. And she's just sitting there wistfully, just staring off, maybe stirring what we would assume is a blood-based beverage. And she says, I would say aging is the emperor of all diseases.
Oh,
what a strange thing to say.
Bold.
She told the Times.
It's one of those, you didn't know whether you should say it or not, or whether you quite wanted to say it, but then when it came to crunch time, you just sort of panicked and blurted it out.
Yeah.
Like a doorknob question when you're at the doctor's, where you go in for something really embarrassing, but you sit there and you tell them you've got a cold, and they go through the usual, and it's only when they're standing up to leave that you go, oh, by the way. I get it at the pharmacy a lot. People who don't have the Patreon might not know that I've started working at a pharmacy.
Yeah.
But I have. So there you go.
And if you don't believe it, then that's on
But
you.
one of the things that you get a lot of is kind of normally it's like a classic trope of young guys buying condoms, but I've found more often it's
People
actually
don't care
a
about
trait
that still,
of...
do they in real life?
No. Oh, well, people buying them do.
Do they?
Yeah. But I found more often than not now it's actually a trait of older men buying Viagra, is that they will spend 5 minutes wandering around the shop and they'll come up to the counter with bottle of Dettol, we've got some kitchen roll,
Some Smarties.
Yeah, I'll have a packet of these Vicks sweets, and then you've racked them all through, and then they're like, and do you
While I'm here,
Yeah.
I guess I've
do you have
made the
any
trip.
any
Gardening pills.
how do you know how expensive Viagra is?
Is it very?
It's really expensive.
I would have assumed
it basically works out to a £5 an erection.
Wow.
That's so much.
God, you should be able to monetize them.
Four pills costs you 20 quid.
Wow.
That's madness.
That is quite a lot.
Just
isn't
do
it?
something else.
Yeah, I guess.
There are cheaper hobbies.
That is a shame. I thought you were going to say that he did the lager beer thing of coming up with a lollipop, the Dettol, a magazine, some Viagra, and being like, how much is that going to be? That'll be £12. Oh, well, it's odd. I don't have the cash for the Viagra, the magazine, and I guess I'll put those back. Maybe I'll get 2 Viagras. £40, 8 erections.
Do you think...
Going to be quite the week.
And I mean, I know what the answer here is, but I only just thought about it, and it's made even sadder by the extortionate cost. Do you think there are people who buy Viagra so they can wank?
Masturbate.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is the saddest thing. That's
old age.
that is an image of utter despair.
Just popping a pill in your
Just like,
in a dark
they've got the
room or
candles, they've got a bit of mood music.
something. Oh no! Maybe they put a condom on just to kind of
just to
make
get
it
in
fancy.
the zone.
It's like dressing up.
Yeah.
Now look, we're not kink shaming.
Treat
here.
yourself like a lady.
Yeah,
you know?
go for it. If that's what you're into.
God, there's people definitely do that, don't
The
they?
only final thing to note from this article is that the trials related to young blood, as they keep pouring it from the young beings, is from a US startup called Ambrosia, which is unfortunate.
They make custard here, don't they?
Yeah, ambrosia, custard, and blood. You don't want to mix up your
Blustered.
Now, here's a little game for you. They offer teenage blood plasma. Fuck, we're out of the range.
Wow, okay.
To
You were
older
generous.
customers.
Only by 11 years.
It's not been 11 years since I was a teenager.
No, but I'm
It's been
saying that your
6
age
years.
range was 11 years out from the real thing.
They offer teenage blood to older customers at a cost of...
What do you mean offer
blank.
it to them? It sounds like
Just
they're
go round
flogging it
door
like
to
in a
door.
van.
No, it's like, you know, when they sell beer at a sports game where they're wearing a rucksack of it.
Or the guy in Hercules who's like, you want to buy a sundial?
Such a good joke. So they're offering 2.5 litres at a cost of what? We can do it in pounds or dollars.
Is it more expensive or less expensive than Viagra, do you think?
2.5 litres of teen blood.
Yeah, well, how long's that keeping you alive for?
Well, I don't know. I don't think they know either. I think it's really just a guess. And there's an element of potential recreational use for the blood. What's your ballpark?
$60.
Oh, it's $8,000.
Whoa!
For 2.5 litres of blood.
Wow.
We should be selling all this blood.
Yeah, no one wants yours.
I could shave and say I'm a teen. I'd say, hello lads, I'm a teen.
Fancy some blood.
Get a taste of this teen
but I
blood,
mean,
mister.
No, but also, I mean, we definitely could, because what metric are they using to prove that it's teen blood?
I bet you can age
Do you
people
have
by
to-
their blood.
Do you have to... Yeah, but the people who are buying it aren't doing that.
Oh,
like,
maybe they're not, yeah.
do they have to have the kid
saying
there?
we start
It's
some
like on
knockoff.
tap.
We're starting like discount blood.
Yeah.
Like
It's not teen blood, it's
Hashtag
just-
back alley blood.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds very
Hashtag bab. Get your bab.
Give me some news, hey.
Okay,
It better be a good one.
here's one. NRA, that's
Oh, I
the
know
National Rifle Association.
Oh, you're very political, aren't you? Mine's
Yeah.
all about ghosts.
This one's a bit more light-hearted.
Because they're ridiculous.
NRA TV airs photo of Thomas the Tank Engine in KKK hood in ethnic diversity segment.
Why?
It's
What ethnicity do they think he is?
no, well, this is the story, and this is one of those ones where you're like, there was potentially an interesting, not a debate in the way they think it is, but an interesting discussion to be had about race in kind of like
In
art.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah, but not the one they've had.
Right.
So the National Rifle Association spokeswoman and right-wing commentator Dana Lurch
Oh, nice.
attempted to make a point about diversity during a television segment using an image of Thomas the Tank Engine wearing a Ku Klux Klan hood.
Mm-hmm.
The host of the NRA TV show Relentless aired the image during the final segment of the show on Friday, according to a video posted by Media Matters. On Friday, Mattel Inc. announced the new season of Thomas and Friends, still making it seemingly,
God, isn't it?
and the collaborative efforts with the of the United Nations. The company said the new season...
What?
The UN
What's
are working,
the UN got to do
They're
with
working with Thomas the
Engine?
Tank. Get ready. The company said the new season will take Thomas and Friends to different locations around the globe, like
How?
China,
How will
India,
he get there?
and Australia.
He's a train.
He's going by boat.
God, this is bullshit.
Along with a new cast to bring gender equality and international characters onto the show.
Sure.
During the segment on her show, Lurch took aim at the children's TV show
Oh.
about trains.
Taking down the big guns.
Took aim at the children's TV show about trains, as it goes, and the new international characters. One of those trains, Nia, will be from Kenya to add ethnic diversity to the show. And, by the way, that's where it gets really strange to me, because I've looked at Thomas and Friends at their pictures, and I see grey and blue, Lash said. Am I to understand this entire time that Thomas and his trains,
His train. It's like a band.
were white? Because they all have grey faces.
But they're all like set in one depressing town in the north of England, aren't they?
It's on an island.
Is it?
Yeah, it's on an island. I can't remember what it's called. It's called something really horrible. I can't remember what it.
I'll Google it. I'll do the research while you keep.
But like, so there is where there is definitely some kind of ContraPoints video to be made about, are we to assume the...
Oh, it's called Sodor.
Sodor, that's it, yes.
Like Hodor with a...
Yeah. About, are we to assume whiteness of characters who aren't depicted as actually white. So all of these trains have the character, like the generalized characteristics of a normal face, but one that you would consider to be white. They all speak like old white men. Yeah. It's set ostensibly on a British island. It is
in like some weird past as well.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
So, I mean, all of the characters who are humans in it are white. So are we to assume that they are, or that they're at least representative of being white? Like, there's a discussion there. There's like an
not a very interesting one.
No, but there's like a moderately interesting one to be had about, like, what are we to assume?
Yeah, I would say it'd be more interesting if it was less about Thomas, where the answer is they definitely were intended to be white because it was made in like 1950s.
Yeah,
Britain.
but like, you could apply it to like The Simpsons. Yeah. Are they supposed to be representative of white people, given that there are black characters in the show? Whatnot. But the debate should not take the form that Dana Lersch decided. Lersch then asks, how can a show include ethnic diversity if the popular children's show is about trains?
Oh, that's a real
sideways
glance.
How'd you bring ethnic diversity? Lersch asked. I mean, they had to paint what I guess there was some sort of African pattern on the side of Nia's engine. How do you bring ethnic diversity to a show that literally has no ethnicities because they're trains?
Wow.
So she's kind of missed her own point there, I think.
Defeating her own argument, yeah.
During the segment, a picture of the trains wearing Ku Klux Klan hoods on the burning train tracks appeared on the screen. Lersch then sarcastically added that the blight on race relations on the children's show has gone on for far too long.
Oh, has it?
Oh, was it because... I see it. It was the white hoods and the burning train tracks. Okay, fine, fair point, fair. I get it.
Satire,
Thomas the Tank Engine has been a blight on race relations for far too long. Clearly, this is overdue, right?
Right.
Now, I mean, we will obviously present it in some form for the listeners,
because I'm not putting it on our website.
But here's the picture.
Don't want any racist trains on my
Tell
site.
me just how fucking horrid you think it is out of 10.
Oh. Yeah, it is horrid. It's weirdly edited as well. It's like a sort of composite of different scenes.
It looks like they're crashing through like that.
And
really
to be
old
honest,
film.
I've always found them creepy as hell anyway, with their dead faces, Thomas.
But now they're racists as well.
Well, I always suspected.
Yeah.
That was the subtext to that one. Where Gordon the Gammon train.
Yeah, he is.
Choo-choo.
He is Gammon 101.
Back to the 20s. Family tormented by eerie voice singing nursery rhyme at night. Reason why is shocking.
There's a real families and ghosts theme going on
Families and ghosts.
with you today.
That's a sitcom I'm pitching.
Okay, there we go.
A family haunted by a chilling voice of a child singing "It's Raining, It's Pouring" for months has finally discovered.
That makes it sound like it was another lyric. It's raining, it's pouring for months.
Alice Connington, 34, was so tormented by the sinister tune that she was unable to sleep in her Ipswich home. Makes it sound like she went to another home instead.
Yeah.
The mum of two told the Ipswich Star, "It was waking me up in the night. It was absolutely terrifying. I heard it at all times of the night. 1 a.m, 2 a.m, 4 a.m. It was sporadic.
Not all times.
Sometimes it would play once, other times it was over and over. Eventually, the creepy occurrence proved too much for Alice, and she decided to report it to, because they say, who are you going to call? The council. Straight to the council. So I'm going to play it, if this works.
Right,
I'll probably try and play an advert first or something bullshit, won't it? Let's see. Or I have it on the computer as well. Talk about something while I find it.
Well, what I'm going to talk about is the fact that there's simply no way that any video could convince me there's a ghost.
Here it is. So it's pretty spooky.
Oh. That's not edited at all, is it?
No, that's...
They didn't just make that...
Exactly.
Is that what it was like? In their house, it sounded like it was coming through a speaker.
Well, it wasn't in their house.
Did they mention...
It wasn't in the house.
Where was it?
It's very cynical of you to
Sorry,
think that.
where was it?
What it was Well, what do you think the answer is? Imagine this is one of those lateral thinking puzzles. A mum of two is woken up in Ipswich every
Is it
night.
anything to do with the post box?
Or getting higher and higher because of the ghost? No, it's not.
Did you have to break it in half and use the halves to make a hole and
Very
crawl
clever.
through the
You've
hole?
done lateral thinking puzzles
I
before.
have, yeah, no.
And they're all very good. Investigators managed to track down the sound. You were wrong.
It wasn't coming from a speaker, was it?
Well, it was, but,
It was coming from a
there's
speaker.
a real twist here.
Okay.
They tracked it down to a nearby industrial estate just a few hundred metres from her home. It was there that they discovered the rhyme, and just think of this logic, was meant to be a deterrent to stop thieves. But it had backfired after
By
spiders...
encouraging thieves.
After spiders repeatedly crawled over the motion sensors. A spokesman for the council said, "This is unique in our experience. It was difficult to believe a nursery
We've never
rhyme.
had to arrest spiders before.
It was difficult to believe a nursery rhyme would be playing in the middle of the night. But we do take all complaints seriously and ask the residents
They've
who
never seen any
contacted
horror
us
films.
to let us know when it was playing so we could investigate properly. We appreciate that people living nearby would find it quite spooky." So yeah, it was this business's approach to stopping people coming onto their premises was just
to haunt
endlessly
them away.
playing a haunting ghost
Well, no,
child.
clearly it wasn't to endlessly play it.
But so
It was intended only to be if they came near.
yes, but if you were a thief and you like approached a premises and it started singing with the voice of a ghost girl, I don't think it's as much of a deterrent as they think.
What I'm going to say is, if you've got a motion sensor, you may as well use that for something like an alarm system that might
like
call the police.
Filming it
Yeah.
and stuff, yeah.
Rather than ghost spooking.
But never mind. Do you have any more?
I've got one more.
Hit us up with it.
One of my
and I'll
favourite
take
headlines
us
of
out.
all time. We're
on.
moving away from the politics.
Nice.
Aussie racehorse owner gets a ban for calling his horse "Let's go, cunt."
Wow, okay.
An Australian racehorse owner has copped a hefty ban after officials realised he'd given his horse a pretty gnarly name.
What do you mean realised?
Well, you'll see.
Okay.
The story goes that managing owner Stuart Ruse, which already makes it sound fake, doesn't it? Registered his filly in the name Andiamo Ficcia, which my attempted a pronunciation, with the horse making her racing debut on September 4th. But with Racing Australia rules requiring all racing horse names to be approved by a registrar, stewards quickly realised that rather than being a meaningful Italian moniker, Andiamo Ficcia directly translated to "Let's go, cunt."
Wow.
Though he pleaded his innocence.
On what grounds? Oh, it was an accident. Google Translate fucked it.
I've accidentally, definitely, deliberately and directly used a
that's
clear
a shame.
translation. Racing New South Wales found Ruse guilty of conduct prejudicial to the interests and or image of racing,
The image of racing.
as well as providing false evidence to race officials and disqualified him for 18 months.
What evidence could he have provided that stood in opposition to the actual
Maybe like
translation?
a faked Google search where Andiamo Feature means like, what a lovely
God
horse.
save racing.
I was hoping that the ban would be for like being mean to the horse.
Oh, yeah, I guess I hadn't thought
And
of
the
that.
Amo Feature will not be allowed to race until her name has been changed and approved by Racing New South Wales. Seems sad to discriminate against the horse.
Yeah, that seems unfair. I didn't realise that horse naming was like an official thing, though. 'Cause
Yeah.
it sounds like she has to have her name changed like through deed poll.
Yeah, well, like
have to take it
almost
to court?
literally, what it says, they have to go through a registrar.
It's mental.
But it's because you have to keep the same name for all your races, so you have to be like tracked. It is like an official status as a person almost, because people bet an awful lot of money tracking them on their like
What a
record
waste of
performance.
everyone's time. Sex with an alien was the most pleasure I ever had, E.T. Lover reveals in new book.
E.T. Lover.
So this is
Now,
a very
is
long
this-
article that I'll be selecting pieces from.
Okay, thank goodness.
However, the real meat, as it were, is in the book that is being written about.
Sorry?
There is a book. The E.T. Lover reveals this in the new book. So we're
In a
going to go
book.
into the book.
Okay.
From people who claim that their alien sexual partners are far better than any human lover, to a man who claimed that aliens inserted a 12-inch living probe into his anus, a new book is throwing light, not shedding, throwing light on people who have sex with ETs. There's a lot of them out there, with some claiming that aliens disguise themselves as celebrities. Did you know that? to have sex with gullible humans here on Earth.
Wow.
Other aliens, and you're not going to like this, have even forced human victims to have sex with animals, says Nigel Watson, author of a chapter in Screwed by the Aliens.
Caught fucking his own dog by his wife.
Screwed by the Aliens, edited by Timothy Green Beckley. Bold to put his name on that book, I think. I'll give you just a few like highlights from some of the things that go on in the alien fucking community. Watson, author of the UFO Investigations Manual, says, the first case of sexual contact in our flying saucer area was experienced by Antonio Villas-Boas in South America. He claimed in 1957 that he was dragged inside a flying saucer and forced to have sex with a beautiful alien woman.
Oh.
When he left, she pointed at her stomach, presumably with a light-up finger.
Yeah,
if
we can only presume.
She pointed at her stomach, at him, and then at the sky, implying, as I'm sure you gathered,
Eat the moon.
She would have his child somewhere in outer space.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Not anywhere too obvious, but somewhere around there. In his book Communion, Whiteley Strieber famously described being abducted by aliens who inserted a 1 foot long probe inside him. It seemed to be a living entity, so when it was taken out, he was surprised to see it was a mechanical device. I'm going to show you... it's great. On reflection, Strieber says he regretted going public with his anal probe experience, but felt that he owed it to his readership to be honest about it.
To put it in a book.
He believes he is guilty of being compulsively honest, as opposed to being a compulsive liar.
Compulsively honest about his anal probe experience.
That's a lovely
extraterrestrial
thing to say.
anal probe experience.
Yeah.
We probably should say, not your common garden variety terrestrial anal probe experience.
They have this really unfortunate word, which is it's spelt ufologist. But do you think they pronounced it ufologist or UFOologist?
Ufologist.
Yeah. Which do you think they go for? Because they're both quite bad.
I'd say that when people go on TV to talk about it, they probably say ufologist because it sounds more genuine. It sounds like EUFOLOGIST. But, one to one, they're like, what about all these UFOologists?
I'm going to just show you the book on Amazon, and it is available to purchase. I don't know if you're...
Are we going to get a copy for the show?
It's $24, so not until it goes on sale.
Lot. Wow.
It's called Screwed by the Aliens, True Sexual Encounters with ETs.
It's really good. It's always a really good sign when a factual book just pops the word true on there.
Well, it just helps you know, doesn't it?
You're not picking up a book of fiction.
No.
You're not picking up one of the many exploitative books that just peddles lies and misinformation and disinformation. These are true stories.
So the book is presented as Timothy Green Beckley's Screwed by the Aliens, True Sexual Encounters with ETs. It's got a subtitle as well, which again is a very common journalistic trope to reinforce that sense of validity, veracity.
Right.
And the subtitle is, are UFO beings creating a hybrid super race, or do they just want to have fun? So it throws that question out there for us to answer.
I often find that if you're doing a true expose,
like this one,
usually better to answer the questions rather than ask them.
It's going to answer them in the book, isn't it?
Right,
Probably.
okay. But it just sounds like they're not sure.
They've put 6 bullet points just to give you a sense of what's going to be on the cover.
Wow, that is good.
Hybrids, bedroom invaders, false pregnancies, cosmic sadism. You're the best kind, I've heard. Seduced by ETs and alien sex in the cinema. And here is that cover for you to enjoy. How would you describe it?
Busy.
Yeah,
I would.
Made in Microsoft Paint.
It's good that they've put the names of everyone involved right there in a big yellow box.
Like sharing the blame.
Yeah.
They don't want to be culpable.
My favourite bit about Seduced by ETs makes it sound like they were aware it was an ET, but they were just so charming that they managed to convince them. And then the next morning they were like, "Oh, kind of regret it."
Yeah, But call me next week.
I'm not fucking you. You're an alien. And they're like, "Look, just
give it a go.
Just look. Let me show you, baby. Let me show you, baby. Show you, baby, that it can be like this."
And they're like,
with an ET. Then a bit of the saxophone from. What's it called? Careless Whisper starts up.
The sextraterrestrials are here.
Fuck
and
off.
they want to mate with you. That's the product description. So apparently the Bible supports this. Did you know that? They
not
saw
surprised.
that their daughters were fair and took them as wives. Genesis 6:1. So chapter 6, verses 1, 2, and 4.
And was that initial one in reference to the aliens?
Yeah, I think so. The Bible says it in a civilized way, but the truth is that since the beginning of time, otherworldly entities, no matter how you wish to identify them, have been pillaging and plundering our planet, taking our women, probing our bodies in an ungentlemanly manner, and ostensibly creating a master race of alien hybrids by removing the fetuses from artificially inseminated females who have been abducted by UFO occupants around the globe. That was one sentence.
Wow.
The aliens
They're not big
then raised
fans
the children
of...
their own.
not exactly big fans of Occam's razor, the old
not so much.
extraterrestrial.
The molestations go on, and despite the credible nature of a large percentage of such encounters, these sensationalistic events are perhaps the most closely guarded secret of the ufological community, for fear that such disclosure will lead to ridicule on the part of skeptics, which is maybe the trap we're falling into here.
Mostly truthful of a large percentage is another like Rod Little-esque.
Yeah.
You're never going to have to prove that in a court of law. No one can decide.
What sometimes starts out as a simple bedroom invasion with aliens coming through the walls or ceiling
That is pretty simple.
frequently transforms into a fully consciously recalled nightmare, often into an ongoing series of events on board a spacecraft outside the Earth's atmosphere or in underground human/alien bases. Here are historical as well as some of the most recent cases of copulation with reptilians, the handsome Nordic space brothers.
Oh,
Who are they? Who are they? Can I follow them on YouTube?
That sounds like a description by someone who's only seen the film Thor once.
The handsome Nordic space brothers, the Greys, insectoids, and a host of other intergalactic stalkers, the real invaders from Mars, as taken from the files of some of the top researchers of our time. So not just in ufology, just of our time.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good.
To paraphrase Cyndi Lauper's 80s smash pop single,
Aliens just want to have fun.
there are a few space aliens who it seems are coming here because they just want to have fun.
Fucking hell.
So there you go. And that's this week in shame. What a week it's been. I think 3 out of 5 of my articles were published today.
Wow.
So it just goes to show there's a lot of shame out there.
Shame is happening everywhere.
Should you want to find it. We love to hear from you guys, and if you have any articles that you think are shame of the week worthy.
We've still got one to go through from
Jake.
our new supercon,
Yep.
Jake.
Absolutely we do. But should you have anything to send our way, any questions, thoughts, feedback, Declan, what are some ways that people can do just that?
Well, you could have yourself a little bit of the electronic mail.
Yep.
Not the ET, the EM.
Yeah, Mail.
Ellie mail.
That's what they call it.
You can find your way into our inboxes at, what is it? That's a Shamecast.
Are you fucking with me right now?
TAS
Yeah.
at shame.city.
Sure can.
You can also find out your way into our inboxes via the website, shame.city/contact.
Why not?
You can get in touch with us on Twitter. The show can be found at That's a Shamecast. Isaac can be found at IsaacBD. I can be found at DE Delane. If you have a look on the website, if that's where you listen to the show, like an absolute mentor.
Some people like it.
An absolutely beautiful mentor. I listen to it there a lot as well.
Do you?
Yeah, I used to when I was at the hotel a lot as well. Just pop it on.
Shame.city.
That's
Hell
the
of a
one.
site.
If you have a look there, there's now a handy link in the show description to give us a little review.
There is. You don't even have to go anywhere. So
No.
you don't even have to go onto the website. In your pod app, your podcatcher, you just click write a review and it will transfer you to iTunes somehow.
You too can give us 5 stars, unlike
Your girlfriend and traitor. But yeah, we'd really appreciate that.
girlfriend, traitor, and flatmate.
That's her. It will boost us in a big way. Probably.
Don't ask us how.
Don't ask us
we
why.
we wouldn't want to bore you.
No, absolutely not. What else do we have? We have a Patreon.
I know.
And
We've been
we're-
discussing some new
there's
content.
going to be
haven't
some
we?
big stuff happening there. We're going to be doing a special offer, details of which maybe next week, depending on how much time we get. Probably around the time that the rap feature debuts, we'll have maybe a rap about...
It's going to be a big week.
It's going to be a hell of a week for sure. But yeah, we're thinking of running a little special promotion over there, maybe upping our merch output a little bit. Of course, should you wish to throw us $1 to make us holler, obviously not in a way that clips on the microphone, patreon.com/shamecity is the place to do it. Anything is appreciated. You get some cool bonuses like 3 extra episodes a month, at least.
I'd just like to clarify
Yeah.
that when we say holler,
Yeah.
we mean it with an AH or an ER on the end,
As opposed
in
to
the shout, not as in hollow.
Oh, yeah, no, because
It won't be doing that.
not even a bit.
If anything, the opposite, filling us.
And imagine you're there now and you sign up at the $4 a month. That's what, 25 cents an episode tier? Something like that.
What sort of back catalogue
They're
would
already
you
going
get?
to unlock something like 13, 14 episodes.
That's incredible stuff.
Just
right
on
there.
the day that you do it. It's mad. It's generous and it's there for you from us. Until episode, whatever the next one is, 105, which I'm reliably informed is going to be off the chain.
One hell of a show.
It's going to be big, for sure. I've been Isaac. You've been.
I've been Declan.
Don't let the extraterrestrials bite.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.